What's going on, everybody? Just waiting on Rod to get set up, but I guess I'll take the lead here until he comes in. Welcome to Midday Sports with Rod and the Lunch Crew. I am Dietz, and we're just waiting on Rod to get situated here. But as uh, as you all know, we will recap the wild weekend in all of sports. It was a wild college football weekend. It was a crazy NFL Sunday, as it usually is. But a lot of things happened. A lot of things got out there. But we have to start the show. We have to start this show and every show that I am going to be on this week. We have to start it with a pop and a pour for what happened on Saturday. And I know it's early, but we're in celebration mode here, especially at Fifth Down Sports Show, where Saturday was just one of the most amazing things happen. And if you haven't already, if you're listening to this, go on over to Fifth Down Sports Show, subscribe to the network. I'm telling you right now, for 6 years, I have been telling everybody the college football playoff, the committee is a joke. The committee doesn't work. On Saturday, in the middle of the TCU game, Joel Klatt says, and I quote on the air, "The college football committee is an experiment that has failed." Thank you, Joel Klatt. Everybody has said I am crazy because I've said the committee's a joke. I've said the committee doesn't work. They need to get rid of the committee, keep the playoff, but get rid of the selection process. And Joel Klatt said it. So thank you, sir. Thank you for stating and getting everything that we've said right. Oh, Rod, I couldn't believe when Joel Klatt said that on live television. Oh, it was awesome. What's up, man? Is it just my speakers not
Yeah.
not with nothing come through? Oh, there you go.
It's true though.
It's absolutely true. But I've been
I'm
saying it
glad.
for
I'm
6
glad
years.
LSU. No,
I've been saying it for 6 years, and every time I bring it up, somebody has to call in my show or they have to comment in the sections, and they have to say, "Oh, you're just a purist. You just want this. You just don't want things to change." And I'm like, "No, I want them to change. I want them to be the right change." And it was just so nice to hear somebody with the stature of Joel Klatt to say what I've been saying. So thank you, sir, to that. Not only that, if you've been listening to this program, this midday sports with Rod, with Rod and the Lunch Crew, if you remember the first time I was on here, now, right after Joel Klatt says what he said, right after he says, if you remember my first session on here, we talked about Tiffany Cross and MSNBC and how she decided that the Tua Tagovailoa concussion injury somehow showed the NFL's racism towards black people, which I pointed out on this show and on my show and on many other shows. I pointed out, how are you using this? He's not black. Well, it finally bit her in the butt, and she got fired on Saturday, almost 30 minutes after Joel Klatt said what he said. I couldn't believe how much we were getting. I said this a month ago. She'll be fired over this. And due to when they released the statement, it was due to the reactions of the fans and due to reactions of the public. And that's what we're about here. Look, I don't care what you say, just get it right. Get the facts right. You can't go out and say, "Oh, concussions. This situation shows racism because you have white coaches." When the coach of the Miami Dolphins is a mixed race coach, you can't say, "Oh, this shows a racism towards black players," when the player in question is not black. You can't say these things in public and get away with it anymore. It was fantastic. So another check mark in the Fifth Down Sports Show.
Man, I'm sorry. There's something wrong with my internet been acting wild, but
now we got you. Now we got you.
All right, my internet's a little bit better. I got my Wi-Fi's acting weird, but yeah, man. You know what this tells me though? It gets my boy Blake Corum closer to that motherfucker Heisman. With these performances of the ledge, you know what I mean? Tennessee with Hooker, and
Hooker's candidacy is done. Jalen Hyatt's candidacy is done.
CJ Stroud.
Anybody who watched the Northwest, anybody who watched that game against Northwestern, he shouldn't even be he shouldn't even be invited to New York. The way he played in that game. So
all their stock went down. Blake Corum stock went up.
But absolutely, the Blake Corum, and then Blake Corum goes out and does what he did on another 100-yard performance, another Michigan thrash as they thrashed Rutgers, and it was funny because they kept saying when it was 14-7, oh, Michigan's struggling with Rutgers, and the game ends 49 to. I think it was 49-7 or whatever the ending score was. I loved it. They kept on doing it all Saturday long. Michigan struggles with Rutgers early. Yeah, okay, they struggled early because they didn't put up. But then once they broke it out, they broke the back, and Michigan was off to the races.
Man, but. We got to put some respect on LSU, man, because I didn't see it coming, man. And I gotta give him his credit, man.
I did. I can say that was the third thing I was gonna say. I saw this come. I didn't see a win coming. I had Alabama winning and LSU cover. I had LSU with a cover.
Mm-hmm.
I did not expect them to be winning. When I turned the game on and they were winning, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. What are we doing here? And then, that fourth quarter was insane. Bryce Young, I thought it was going to be another Bryce Young moment where he drives the team down the field, bing, bang, boom. Brian Kelly showed the cojones of them all to say, you know what? We're not stopping them. We're going for the win right now.
You gotta put respect on his name, man. That was a hell of a coaching job, man.
And I don't think it was that hard, seeing as one play in overtime. They ran one offensive play in overtime. Alabama had just driven down they had just driven down for their score in overtime. Jaden Daniels takes one play and goes 25 for the touchdown. I think they had the feeling they were, as Brian Kelly said, he had a coaching feeling. He had it set up to where, hey, we're going to score.
Mm-hmm.
And you know who you got, who really stepped up, and people won't talk about this kid, but that Jason Taylor's son, Mason Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you right now, on that overtime play, that block he puts on the corner is absolutely one of the plays of the year. One of the plays of the year is he cleaned the dude out and then got him past, and that's what allowed him to run for the touchdown. people are going to talk about Mason catching the touchdown that tied it up and all of that. That block was the best play of the game.
But let's move on, Beats. And what was going on with Ohio State versus Northwestern, man? Northwestern defense was firing on all cylinders in the beginning of the game. I thought they was going to upset them.
What happened is Ohio State, and this is typical of Ohio State, Northwestern. Mm-hmm. Northwestern always gives Ohio State fits. Mm-hmm. And you can go back to any. They've played in two Big Ten championship games where they've played against Pat Fitzgerald's Northwestern teams, and they've struggled. They struggle in the first half because that defense. They're not used to seeing defense like that. Mm-hmm. And this is a Northwestern team that's not even close to as good as any of those teams that Pat Fitzgerald has had. This is probably the worst team that he's had since being there, and they still gave him fits. So that's just typical Northwestern Ohio State.
But you know what I mean? Held CJ Stroud to no touchdowns. That was a hell of a defensive game plan. You know what I mean? They had to run the ball, which I love. You know what I mean? I love a team running it in the trenches. But they, you know what I mean? They got it done.
I mean, if Northwestern had any sort of offense, mm-hmm. they would have pulled off that win.
No doubt. But man, what's you, man? Won't stop, can't stop. Take that. They went, you know what I mean? They went puffy on them. They won't stop. Beats.
No, that train is rolling, and I mean, again, Max Duggan. What? It right now, you mentioned Blake Corum for the Heisman. Right now, the Heisman Trophy is Blake Corum and Max Duggan. And whichever one of those two stays undefeated, that's who's winning the Heisman Trophy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's why TCU is just Texas Tech gave them everything that you could imagine, and everything was in the face of TCU mm-hmm. on Saturday. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. Without their best player. Johnson at wide receiver couldn't play the entire game, and they still find a way to pull it out.
Man, but you know what? I'm loving that UCF team. I know they're not in contention for anything big, but I just think they're a fun team to watch, man, on both sides of the ball.
UCF is always fun to watch. Always going to be fun to watch. They're always going to be throwing the ball around the yard. They've figured out how to steal the show down there in Florida.
I think they're the biggest school right now in Florida right now.
They are. They are the attraction. They're the ones that everybody wants to go to. Everybody in Florida wants to go play there because that's the place where everybody's having fun. Mm-hmm. All the three other schools, no one wants to go there.
Nah, man. Nobody who really want to go to Florida right now with Florida State? Come on, man. FAU.
Who wants to go there? Who wants to go to Miami when they're getting beat 49-3 by Florida State in Miami? That never happened.
Sad, man. Sad. Let's move along, man. Yes, you have any, man? Before we get to go into some more games, what awards you want to give, man? For ball awards, who are you giving awards for week 10, man?
I'll tell you right now. We do it all the time on the show, and we'll do it on Thursday. Best and worst of the weekend. You saw it. I know you saw it because you're a Tennessee fan. You want to know the best play of the weekend? The best play of the weekend was a punt, and it was Georgia in the second in I believe it was late first quarter. That punt, that 85-yard punt that gets down at the 2-yard line, that changed the game. It was 7-3 at the time, and And Tennessee, one, that should have been a safety. Two, it set up the next drive for Georgia. But that was the best play of the weekend was a punt. That was the best punt I've ever seen. Not only did it go 85, but it went out of bounds at the 2-yard line.
You know what I mean? I want to give an award to Jonathan Bennett, man, from Liberty. He was balling against Arkansas. And I also want to give a credit to Georgia defense.
Liberty's scary. They got the old Syracuse coach. They got the old Syracuse coach who unceremoniously got run out of town. So he went to Liberty, and he's turned that program around. So,
you know what I mean? I also want to give it to Morgan Freeman. Great coaching job in Notre Dame. Great. What they did to Clemson, big time. Again,
another one that I saw coming a mile. And I didn't see the wind coming a mile away, but I saw the cover coming. And when I saw the spread on that game, I said no. I said, "There's no way. There's no way Clemson's going to get out of here. There's no way they don't get out of touchdown Jesus with that big of a spread." So I had to pick Notre Dame, and then Notre Dame goes out and crushes them.
I even like the NC State game versus Wake Forest game. I enjoyed that too. I enjoyed that game. It was a high scoring game.
That would have been a better game if Devin Leary was playing. I love this. I love that kid. I love Devin Leary. I know he's out for the year now at quarterback, but that's a name to watch. NC State, that's a name to watch when you're looking at NFL draft next year. It's a name to watch. Devin Leary will be picked somewhere in the 3rd or 4th round, and he's a good player.
Also, Chip Kelly offense. Come on, man. They ran for 400 yards. I don't care what team it is. They run for 400 yards.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
I mean, you can give so many game balls out there on Saturday. It was such a good day on Saturday. Saturday was such a good day for college football. It was the day college football needed.
You know what I mean? Before let's do a quick pivot to the World Series champions, the Houston Astros. I'm happy, Beats. You know, I hate the Phillies.
Nobody. Look, I'm a Mets fan. No one's happier than me that the Phillies did not win. I don't care about the I don't care that the Astros won. I just care that the Phillies lost.
Yeah, I hate the Eagles. I hate Philly. I just hate Philly in general.
I hate everything. Everything Philadelphia. I'm a Cowboys fan, so I hate the Eagles. I'm a Mets fan, so I hate the Phillies. I'm a Rangers fan, so I hate the Flyers. I'm a Celtics fan, so I hate the 76ers. I hate everything Philadelphia. Everything Philadelphia.
I hate the cheesesteak though.
Like I can't get away from it. I have teams all over, and every single team is a rival with Philadelphia. So yeah, I hate everything Philadelphia.
What do you think was the biggest? You know what I mean? The keys for them winning, man. What did you see for the whole series? And
it was that no hitter. That no hitter that no hitter was the death of the Philadelphia Phillies. It took everything out of it. Took all the wind out of their sails because they were riding high. They were riding high going into that. They were up 2-1. Up 2-1. They had just shut out the Astros. You know, coming back at home. All of a sudden, boom, they get no hit, and their bats just never recovered.
They disappeared, man.
It was like they got punched in the gut, and they had nothing left. So that to me was the turning point of the series. When I saw that they threw a no-hitter, I said, this series is over.
You know what I mean? I wanted to see old Dusty get it one, man. He's been around, done it all. I'm happy.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it was good. The Astros. I mean, the team everybody loves to hate won. So, there's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of people with sour grapes and they cheated. Blah, blah. Who cares? I don't care. I don't care that they cheated. Like they did. But at the same time, all the people that are saying get over the fact that you have to understand for fans, for people that aren't Astros fans, they're the most hated team in the league. No one's gonna forget that. No one's ever gonna let that go. So you as a fan of the Astros to Astros fan that gets upset by being called cheaters, you have to eat it. Mm-hmm. You have to say, "Yep, we cheated. We cheated, but we still won. So move on. So move on." Like that's why. I mean, no one knows it better than Patriots fans. No one knows it better than Patriots fans. The Patriots are still called cheaters to this day.
Yeah.
For something that they did in 2001. It's 20 years. Like, everybody get over it. Like, Spygate, calm down. Like, it's over. It's done with. No one cares.
That's why.
No one looks back on that 2001 Super Bowl and goes, they cheated to win. It doesn't count. Nope. Doesn't matter. I feel the same. As a college football guy, I feel the same way. People have said, give Reggie Bush back his Heisman. I didn't forget that Reggie Bush won the Heisman. I didn't forget that Reggie Bush was the best player in college football, probably the best player I've ever seen in college football that year, as far as historically. When you watched him play, you knew he was better than everyone else.
But Eric Mangini's, every time I see him on ESPN, I laugh. He thinks he, you know what I mean? Oh, man. Oh, yeah. I knew everything. But if you felt that way, you should give your ring back. And that's why you're on ESPN.
Yeah.
Or Fox. My fault. Fox.
Well, he's been on both. He started on ESPN and then he moved over to Fox. But, yeah, he's on Fox now.
We all knew you was assistant, and your record speaks that. But before we go over that, man, what do you feel like not the Astros, but the Phillies need to do in the offseason to make their team better to compete next year? You think they had to move anything around?
Just bolster up the bullpen. That's really it. I mean, they have the starting pitching. They have the bats. That's really it for the Phillies. The Phillies really don't have to do anything. But as with any team that didn't win, all you really just have to get the bullpen. Be able to get the ball. They have a great closer. Just get the ball to your closer. And that's really it for all these teams. I mean, you look at the National League next year. The National League next year is stacked.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can pretty much pencil in Yankees Astros next year in the American League. Provided we still don't know what's going on with Aaron Judge, but I fully expect Aaron Judge to still be a Yankee. I don't believe in any of this giant. I believe the Giants will give a push, but at the end of the day, if Aaron Judge and his agent are smart, the money will probably be astronomical,
mm-hmm.
but you can take less from the Yankees and get more out of being a Yankee than you can out of being a San Francisco Giant. I mean, the marketing of being a New York Yankee and the ability to promote yourself outside of the game, it being a Yankee far outweighs being a San Francisco Giant. That's just a fact. So I fully believe that he'll stay there. So I think Yankees Astros is pretty much, you can pencil that in. In the NL, the Mets aren't going anywhere. The Braves aren't going anywhere. The Dodgers aren't going anywhere. The San Diego Padres are going to be better next year because they're going to get Fernando Tatis back. and add him to that line, add him to Soto and Manny Machado, they're gonna be better. The Cardinals never go away, so the Cardinals will still be there. The Phillies will still be there. You look at how many teams that's 6 teams deep right there. All of them could challenge for the league next. The National League is going to be stacked next year.
Man, let's pivot to the NFL, man. Let's start with the Sunday night game and work ourselves back up. What's Tennessee doing, man?
Trying to win with a third string quarterback. I mean, they almost pulled it off. That's the crazy thing is they almost pulled it off. But what they're trying, Tennessee is pretty much they can put it in. They can put it on default. They're going to win that division by default. Their division is. I know everybody's going to say it's the NFC South. It's the AFC. The AFC South is the worst division in football.
Damn.
They're the worst division in football. And you want to challenge me on that? Tell me a team that's worse than the Texans. Tell me a team that's worse. Tell me a team that's worse. I know the Jacksonville Jaguars beat the Oakland Raiders, but who cares? Who cares about that? The Jaguars are terrible. The Jaguars a week ago lost to the Broncos.
Damn.
The Colts without Matt, the only reason they were doing good is because Matt Ryan found his way. And now they don't have Matt Ryan probably for the rest of the year. So the Colts are and they don't have Jonathan Taylor anymore. So the Colts are a terrible team. Tell me the team in that division that's going to challenge it. They don't have a challenge. So Tennessee gets to coast for the rest of the year, and they'll still make the playoffs. They'll still get a home game in the playoffs and probably get a bye week in the playoffs because their division's that bad.
That's pretty bad. But I feel like they got away from the run, man. I don't care. Feed them 25, 30 times. Derrick Henry. You can't rely on our third string quarterback to throw it against a Steve Spagnuolo defense. He's going to eat you apart. You know what I mean? Steve been doing it too long.
I mean, how many times do we have to talk about this? Teams just forget. They forget how to play offense. They forget how these coaches forget how to call offense. I don't understand it. They think, oh, we have to pass the ball. You don't have to pass. You have the best running back in the world.
In the league.
You have one of the best running backs of all time. Just give him the ball. Just give him the ball. Giving him the ball 25 times is not enough.
No.
He needs the ball 35, 40 times. And it's not like they don't have – you can spell him. You have Dontrell Hilliard right behind him.
Mm-hmm.
Why they weren't handing the ball off, I don't understand.
Hey, Deets, we would never see somebody 6'3" running like Derrick Henry ever again.
No, you'll never. No, he's a monster. He's a monster. He's the monster among men. All right, he's faster. He's faster than a safety, and he's bigger than a linebacker. Why you wouldn't just hand him the ball every time, and as long as you block the defensive front, he's going to run over the linebacker. He's going to get you 5 yards at least every time he touches the ball.
And I got to say this now. He's one of the greatest running backs ever came out of Alabama. I'm saying that right now.
I'll say it right now. He's the greatest Alabama running back we've ever seen. There's no question about that. What else do you want him to do? He's won the Heisman. He's an NFL MVP. What else do you want him to do? What else do you want him to do? Guy runs for 2,000 yards on a team that's garbage.
Yeah. With no number one receiver.
With no anything. With a college wide receiver playing quarterback. A lot of people forget Ryan Tannehill did not play quarterback in college. He played wide receiver at Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's who they have at quarterback, and they're still dominating the league. Why? Because Derrick Henry is that good.
Yeah, no
And their
doubt.
defense as much as I love Mike Vrabel and as much as they held Cincinnati for a little, or they held Kansas City for a little bit, their defense is garbage. And if you want to challenge me on that, I'll tell you. You give up 500 passing yards to Pat Mahomes. You give up 500 passing yards. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you you're a good defense.
Hey, let's move along, man, Deez. Because I was watching the Snowman in the morning. You know what I mean? Like I normally do, and always in the chat. Can we just give my man his flowers, man? This guy is 50 years old, throwing for 280 yards, and lead a drive for a field goal.
And not just that, not just the yards that he threw for and all of that. How many yards would he have thrown for if his goddamn receivers could catch the ball? They had double digit. They had halfway through the third quarter, they had 9 drops by the wide receivers, and it was the most in a football game in 20 years. They ended the game, I think, with 12 drops by the wide receivers. Double-digit drops. If they just catch the ball, and one of them, Scotty Miller in the end zone, it hit him right in the face mask. How do you get hit in the face with the ball? Just put your hands up, and the ball would have stuck to you.
It kind of reminded me of the movie Little Giants. Remember, all the kids was dropping the balls. This is what it looked like, man. It's like this got to be the worst receiving core in the league, man.
It was awful. I was sitting at the bar yesterday watching with some of the guys, and one of the kids asked me, he goes, "What the hell is wrong with Mike Evans?" Exactly. What the hell is wrong with Mike Evans? He had 4 drops yesterday. That's unacceptable. When you tell me Mike Evans is a star player, no, because he drops the ball all the time. And people were saying, "Oh my God, Brady's not getting it done. He's not getting it done." You can't get it done if your guys don't catch the ball. Brady can't catch it and throw it. He can't throw it to himself. He's not athletic enough to throw it to himself. I've seen Brady run.
Hey, man. And another word, man. What about these Seahawks? What about these Seahawks, man?
What about the Seahawks is that guy number 9, Kenneth Walker III. And we need to start saying Kenneth Walker III because he's that damn good.
Can we give a rookie of the year already? Can we give a rookie of the year already?
I think I told you last week. He's locked it up. He's locked up offensive rookie of the year, no doubt. No doubt about offensive rookie of the year. I don't even know anybody else that could challenge him. I mean, Breece Hall was in the discussion, but he's out for the season.
Mm-hmm.
Kenneth Walker, since he's become the lead back, I think Seattle's 4-0. That tells you all you need to know.
Man, all I got to say, Pete Carroll, you're proving everybody wrong. And you shouldn't on them bad. Without Russell Wilson, you're leading that division. I got you beat. I have you beating the 49ers.
They lead that division with Geno Smith.
Geno
Smith is their quarterback. And Geno Smith played a Geno Smith game on Sunday, and they still won because they were able to. Pete Carroll realized, oh crap, my quarterback's gone back to being himself. Let's just hand the ball off the rest of the game.
DK looking good too. DK had a good game. It's looking good, man. That team is looking dangerous. I'm telling you,
they're as dangerous as anybody out. They have the weapons. Mm-hmm. We just didn't know they had a guy who could get them the ball. And as long as Geno Smith doesn't do Geno Smith things, but to go back to that game, Arizona. What the hell is going on in Arizona? There's one play that describes Arizona's season, and it was right before the half. right before the half, I think 15 seconds left. They're driving down the field, and Kyler Murray runs for a first down and just drops the ball. It wasn't, he didn't get it knocked out of his hand. He didn't get it anything. He just got hit. The guy wrapped his legs up, and Kyler Murray just threw the ball on the ground. I'm still trying to figure out how he fumbled that ball. But that play tells you everything you need to know about Arizona right now. I mean, they were in field goal range. They're probably going to get a touchdown out of that drive. It was he had just run inside the 20-yard line.
Look who we have here.
He fumbles the ball. See what happens when you mention the 49ers there, Rod?
Look who we have here. The LeBron hater number one of the
Rod,
nation.
Tom Brady. Okay, first of all, Tom Brady ain't all that. Neither is LeBron. To Chris's point, I love your question. What the hell's going on in Arizona?
I know.
This is what the football Cardinals should do.
Mhm.
Will it happen? No. But considering the fact that I'm older than both of you, blow up State Farm Stadium and send them back to St. Louis. Will it? No.
No,
I doubt
it's
it.
never going to
Very
happen.
seriously.
It's not going to happen.
I know.
Seriously,
I know.
Seriously,
Chris,
they need to get rid. They need to get rid of the head coach. That's what really needs to happen. That's what really needs to happen, and that's what's not going to happen.
This receipt is for Chris Deeds for correctly calling the more impactful game being in Baton Rouge.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. We poured out our wine to that. Saturday was awesome. Saturday was amazing.
Me and the wife were celebrating that victory with some good stuff, because and I have the highlights. I'll play the highlights tomorrow. Damn, LSU having the balls to go for the win against Alabama. And Chris, you called that. You called that on Thursday, and you said if Brian Kelly would have a chance to win, he'd go for it. You called it.
I knew they were going for. I knew they were going. Once he ran that one play and ran it into the end zone, I said they're going for it. And they're going for it. And
we thought the same thing. We thought the same thing, because
I said there's no way they can allow their defense to go back.
There was no way they're going to play for double overtime. They wanted to end it. They wanted to end it then and now.
And for everybody, this is why college overtime works. That's what college overtime sets up.
See, how come the NFL won't take a cue from that?
I've been saying it for years.
Yeah,
as far as the NFL goes, just push it back. Just push it back 20 yards. Everybody starts at the
20 yards or 10.
I would say 20. Everybody starts at the 40-yard line. That way you're not automatically in field goal range. You have to get some yards to get a field goal.
You got to get some yards to get in field, right?
To get a decent field goal try. So you push it back to the 40-yard line, and you say if you don't score, then if you don't score, the other team gets the ball at the other 40-yard line, and we go from there. I've been pushing that for the NFL for years, but everybody says, "Oh no, you have to have punt." Who cares about punts Who cares about punts in the NFL? Nobody.
Hey Snowman, how did your wife feel about that dumpster fire called the Colts in that game play they had?
She told me after the Texans game that it was over after the first game of the year, because the Colts had no business tying the Houston Texans. And I looked at her, and she looked at me, and she says, "This season's lost already." And I'm sitting there laughing. And I said that on the show, and some of my friends were like, "How can you say that? Your wife supports the Colts." I said, "Exactly. And my wife is the one who told me the season was over.
Like it's crazy how bad the coaching of he's supposed to be a quarterback whisperer. You know what I mean? Comes from Philly, the coach, right? Deets, I believe.
Frank Reich, yep.
Yeah.
Frank Reich.
Frank Reich.
But the game plan was terrible.
You played at the University of Maryland, by the way, who had one of the greatest comebacks in college football against Miami. That was in 1984 when they wiped out a 31-0 deficit and won that game. Let me get this right, 42-40. They won that game 42-40 in the Orange Bowl. Hey, Deets, what's the drink of the day? What you got?
I got some wine. I can't say the name. I can't say the name of it because it's not show appropriate. But
go ahead, say it.
I'm having some Menage a Trois wine.
Okay,
I love it.
Well, like I said, we're celebrating. I'm just celebrating all the prophetic things we said on Fifth Down Sports. Just coming true on Saturday. It was amazing.
I'm celebrating you saying that stuff and have been saying that stuff on my show, and I've had you as an insider on my show for 6 years now.
And how many people? And you can say this because how many people have hit you up after I've said the crazy things I've said about the CFP playoff? How many people have come into the chat and said, "This kid's crazy. He doesn't know what he's talking about"?
Oh, plenty.
So many times.
People were saying that. Listen,
and then Joel Klatt says it live on the air in the middle of the play.
Listen,
I nearly cried.
Deets, people were saying stuff like that when you were saying your predictions during season 1 with me back in 2016. Okay, you were saying stuff in 2016, you know, and people thought, oh, there's no way that's going to happen because the first year I had Deets on with me, it wound up being Clemson and Alabama for all the marbles, and they played it in Tampa. And we were doing our road to Tampa. And Deets says, why do we have I will never forget you saying this. You said, why do we have to do this? It's going to be Clemson and Alabama one more time anyway. I didn't say anything at the time. Part of my brain's thinking, there's no way this could happen. But then the other part of my brain started looking at the games and I'm going, he's right. It's going to be Clemson and Alabama. It's going to be Clemson and Alabama again. And sure enough, in Tampa, it was Clemson and Alabama. And I had so many people hitting me up on Facebook going, how does that kid know? I said, that's why he's my insider. That's exactly why he's my college football insider. Because the kid knows what he's talking about, and I trust him.
It's just following the trend. If you just follow the trends, that's all you have to do.
You follow two things: you follow the trends, and you follow the money. That's it.
That's all you got to look at.
You follow the trends and you follow the money. I have to step out for a minute, but I'll be right back, gents.
I mean, Joel Klatt said it the best. He said if TCU's resume, if the resume TCU had was at Texas, if it wasn't TCU and purple behind it, if it was Texas Longhorns at the top of that, they'd be the number one team. They'd be the number one team in the CFP. That's how good their resume is. And yet they sit at 5th. And they'll probably get X'd out. They might get forced in this week. They might get forced into the 4 spot. But I say might because they still might put Tennessee at 4. I can't wait to see what they do this week with the poll. It's gonna be chaos.
Well, I like it, man, because, you know what I mean, it's about time, man. Everybody got tired of Alabama trampling teams after teams. So I love it. You know what I mean?
It's like I told Andrew in the chat this morning. Don't care. Alabama's not dead yet.
Oh, nobody said that.
They're on life support. They're on life support because they need help. But there is a chaos scenario that they can still get back into it. So they're not dead yet. And you can't until they're fully dead, you can't count them out.
This offense got to be one of the worst offense in Alabama's history, man. They don't score a lot of points. That defense has been holding them together all season.
Their defense is awful. Their defense. This is the worst defense they've ever had. This is the worst defense Alabama's ever had.
I'll say in the secondary. Part of the secondary is terrible.
They've given up what they gave up 40 something to Tennessee, and then 40 again to LSU. And now this week you got Lane Kiffin coming in.
Mm-hmm. You think Lane will get it done?
I don't think Lane. The problem with Lane Kiffin is I think Lane Kiffin's going to put 50 on him. The problem is Alabama's going to put up 55.
Yeah,
that's the way it goes with Lane Kiffin. With Lane Kiffin against Alabama, he usually puts up a good offense. They just can't stop him.
So, Deets, what have you been hearing about, Auburn and Lane Kiffin? How serious do you think that is?
Not serious at all.
Not at all?
Lane Kiffin's not leaving. Lane Kiffin's not leaving he's not going from Mississippi to Auburn. And if he does, more power to him, but that's a bad idea. It's just a bad idea.
So who do you think is a good fit for Auburn if you had to choose?
If I were Auburn, I'm dead serious about this. Go get Bill Bradley, Alabama's offensive coordinator. You need a guy. One, I know it sucks because he's a Saban disciple or whatever, but this is a guy that you remember what this guy did with Penn State. Mm-hmm. This guy rebuilt Penn State when no one thought Penn State would ever come back. They thought Penn State would never recover from the Sandusky debacle. Mm-hmm. And Bill O'Brien brought them back like this. He went to the Texans, and say what you want about Bill O'Brien being and say what you want about his GM skills because they were god awful, but he led that Texans team to the playoffs every year. They were in the playoffs every year, and they finally won a game in the playoffs. And then he gets rid of DeAndre Hopkins. They have the season they had, and then got rid of him. So again, as a GM, he's awful, but as a coach and as a college coach, he would be number one on my list if I were Auburn. That would be the number one guy I would go after.
And he got NFL ties. He can call Tom Brady and say, you know what I mean, or any player.
Exactly. The guy has ties with everyone. I mean, I don't think Tom Brady would answer the call. Tom Brady hates Bill O'Brien.
I know. I'm just capping.
Tom Brady hates Bill O'Brien. He hated Bill O'Brien when he was on the sidelines with him. But that's the kind of thing you need. You need a guy who, one, he's not going to come in and he's not going to try to reinvent the game the way a lot of these coaches are.
Who hates who now?
We're talking about who would replace who would be a good placement in Auburn.
Bill O'Brien? No, I'm kidding.
That's what I said. I said Bill O'Brien. I think Bill O'Brien would be the perfect fit for Auburn. Right? And the way we've talked about Auburn all year. We talked about the way Auburn is. Yes. The way Auburn is they're good one year and then they're god awful the next three,
and they blow,
and then all of a sudden they're good again, and then all of a sudden they go bad for the next three. That's how Auburn is because you have to deal with Alabama every year. You have to recruit against Nick Saban every year, and that's you're only going to hit every once in a while. You're not going
to. Piece of breaking news: Frank Reich is out.
Fired. He's fired. He got fired from Indianapolis?
I'm reading this right now. According to ESPN.com, one day after the Colts' worst offensive performances in recent memory, the team fired fifth-year coach Frank Reich. The 26-3 loss to the New England Patriots on Sunday was their third straight defeat. It was the latest example of their deepening offensive challenges that are beginning to appear insurmountable despite a recent quarterback change from Matt Ryan to Sam Ehlinger and last week's firing of offensive coordinator Marcus Brady. Reich was 40-33-1 in the regular season with a 1-2 record and 2 playoff appearances. It was a tenure defined by incessant turnover at quarterback, and I said on the show it was going to cost him, and it did. The Colts had different opening day starters in each of Reich's 5 seasons. As the franchise who struggled to find a quarterback to fill the shoes of Andrew Luck, who retired before the 2019 season, the tenures of the past 2, Carson Wentz and Ryan, ended in ugly fashion. So Frank Reich out as the coach of the Colts.
Man, Kyle Kingsbury is next. You better have a seat right now.
I agree with that. All right, I gotta go. I got a new 105, so I will see y'all later.
Thank you for that, Snowman. Wow, Frank Reich out. Dude, Bill Belichick just destroyed Frank Reich's career.
He had 9 sacks. He had 9 sacks on him on that rookie.
That's damn right. That's how my fantasy team works, bro.
It's man. It's more people coming to that, going to the
9 sacks, a block punt, and a pick 6. I
don't know, man. I think they should go after, man. I'm tired of him sitting by Andy Reid, man. Eric Bieniemy need a job, man. He can change that whole team.
Every NFL job that comes open, Eric Bieniemy should be the number 1 candidate for every single NFL job that opens up. But I've said it. I don't know where he would go. I would think he would go to Denver.
Probably so. They need a coordinator, man.
That's where I would think.
I think he would get fired too next.
Nathaniel Hackett needs to be fired. Yeah. He should have been fired yesterday.
You know,
and he had a bye. They had a bye week, but I meant to mention this. I meant to mention this on my show on Thursday, but I had some issues with the show. But I meant to mention this when they played. I don't know if y'all watched that game 2 weeks ago against Jacksonville. Even though they won, Dan Orlovsky, who don't get me started on Dan Orlovsky, but Dan Orlovsky said on the broadcast, the reason the Broncos offense is so bad is because because the players don't understand the offense. If the players don't understand it, if it's too nuanced for the players, then that means the coach is not doing a good job explaining it.
Mm-hmm.
Or the coach doesn't know how to coach it to his team. Mm-hmm. If they're saying it's too nuanced,
mm-hmm.
It's too nuanced and you can't score more than 20 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
What's nuanced about your offense?
Mm-hmm.
Something's not right. Something's not clicking with that description of, that's why the team is struggling. If they're struggling because they can't understand the offense, then you need to dumb down your offense.
But what the hell happened to the Dolphins, man? What happened to that defense? They feel like they're falling asleep on defense. What's going on with them? They gave up 30-something points to let Justin Fields' team, which
how about what the hell happened to defense on both sides of that? What happened? The Bears used to be defined. The Bears were always defined by their defense, and their defense is garbage.
I know what happened to Raekwon Smith left.
Raekwon Smith just doesn't want to play.
He's with the Ravens now. He's with the Ravens now.
He's with the all right. Well, they have nobody. They have nobody on defense.
Yeah, they gave Quinn to the Eagles. Like we're no pass rush. You ain't gonna win no games. You gotta have a pass rush.
The Bears defense. The Bears defense is garbage. As you said, what happened to the Dolphins defense? I don't know.
They just got Bradley Chubb. You know what I mean?
The thing about the Dolphins defense is this is what the Dolphins do. Like, even in games, right? Go back to the Ravens game where they gave up like 30 points, and then all of a sudden the defense started to play, and they come back and win that game. They go out, they shut down the Buffalo Bills, and then the next week they give up 40 points to the Jets. The Dolphins defense is like, well, when we want to play, we're good. When we don't want to play, we'll give up 32 points to the Bears. And so I don't know what's going on with that defense. But when they want to play, they shut people down. When they don't, they just let people run wild.
Man, you know what I mean? What's kind of getting me kind of scared, man. Josh Allen, man, he is trying to be Superman, man, and trying to run over everybody.
He's got to shave that mustache. That mustache is awful.
Oh my God,
that mustache is horrible. So, Josh, you lost this week. Get rid of the mustache, and let's see you back. Let's see you back next week, and I'm sure you'll play better.
It looked really nasty, man. You know what I mean? There's a couple classical mustaches I like. Tom Selleck, number one.
If you're gonna grow the mustache, it's got to be thick. It's got to be a thick mustache. I mean, look at Andy Reid's got a good mustache. Like, it's got to be thick. His is like thin, and it just I saw him in the press conference. I just went, Josh Allen, you got to shave that. That would be, if I were coaching the Bills, that would be the immediate thing. I'd go shave your mustache and let's play next week.
Bubba Smith got an icon, you know what I mean? Mustache. Yes. Bubba Smith had a nice one. Nice one.
Again, it's got to be thick. You can't have this thin thing. It doesn't work.
But man, I gotta say this about the Jets, man. I mess with Brian McCarthy on the chat all the time. But Sauce Gardner's
the real deal, man. Sauce Gardner is the real deal.
And Quinn Williams, real deal, Holyfield. I like the other corner they got too. I think it's Whitehead.
Yeah, the Jets probably have the best tandem of corners in football.
Mm-hmm.
And Sauce Gardner is the funny thing is that everybody wants to talk about the interception that he had. The interception that he had is probably the worst play that Sauce Gardner had.
Mm-hmm.
He had to intercept it because Josh Allen threw it right at him. Threw it right at him. It wasn't even a play that Ahmad Gardner made. He just was standing there, and the ball literally hit him in the chest.
No doubt.
But that guy, I mean, there's nothing we could say about that. We said it. I said it going into the CFP last year. Ahmad Gardner is the real deal. People don't understand that. This is a guy who did not give up a touchdown pass his entire college career. No one threw for a touchdown on him.
Mm-hmm.
That's how good this kid is.
Me seeing that one-on-one play with him and Diggs, man, he was all them long arms played the fact to that throw that do at the end of the game.
And for people that want to put up Ken Dorsey as this great, as being the next guy as offensive coordinator. If you're the offensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills and you can't get Stephon Diggs the ball,
come on, Diggs.
I don't know I don't know what you're doing. I mean, I get it, Sauce. You don't want to throw to him when Sauce Gardner's on him. Okay, well, put him in motion, put him on a side, find a way to get that guy the football.
Yeah, no doubt. But man, overall, good win for the Jets, man. Overall,
it's a good win for the Jets. It's a great win for the Jets. It keeps their season alive. Their season was hanging in the balance, and they kept it alive. So
only thing I would say about this, man, can you keep that running attack going? Because I don't trust Zach Wilson to throw it 30 times. Can you keep that running attack going like that?
Yeah, that's
the major key.
That's the Jet. That's going to be the Jets' Achilles heel. Is you cannot put the game in Zach Wilson's hands. And we saw. I mean, you saw that. Bill Belichick has already given you the blueprint of how to beat the Jets. Put the game in make Zach Wilson beat you because he can't.
And you know what I mean? I've seen a lot of critique about our win against the Colts, man. Let me end. I don't care how Bill got to do it. Oh, yeah, too many field goals, kick too many field goals. I don't care what they do. A win is a win to me. I don't care.
Nah, that's just pure hate. That's pure hater. That's just pure haterade right there. Of they didn't win the right way. All right, they won the game
easily. Special team, all three phases, they dominated.
They blocked a punt. They blocked a punt. They blocked a punt and got a pick six. What else do you want them to do?
But you know what I mean? You know what I'm looking for after bye week? I'm looking for that second game with the Jets. I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it, but you know what I mean? That's far away. That's not November 20th because I think we're both on buys. So I can't wait for that, Deets. I can't wait.
Especially off of buy, especially with both teams on buys. That's a huge game. Dude, I want to talk about Washington.
Oh my God, Deets.
I want to talk about what happened in Washington on Sunday, because how they allowed the Vikings to come back and to come back and they get this is proof. I told a guy who's a Washington fan. I said it in the chat this morning. This is what happens when you can't run the ball. All they had to do was ice the game away and run the ball, and they couldn't. And they threw the ball. They threw the ball 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? You're ahead in the fourth quarter. Run the ball. Take time off the clock. Makes no sense. It makes no sense for what they were doing down there. And what happens? The Vikings get the ball. They go down the field. They kick the game-winning field goal.
And, I mean, the game plan, what they was doing, they was mixing up the coverages. I even like the young guy, Justice, whatever his name is. He was playing Jefferson really great. You know what I mean? The coverages was great. But they got in their own way by not running the ball and killing that clock, man. They ran in their own way, not doing that. It's simple, man. But what's going on the debacle of this ugly offense of the Raiders, man? Like, what's going on with the Raiders, man? How you have the best offense, one of the best receivers, I mean, in the league, and you can't get him the ball either. And you have a top.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it was Jacksonville changing up their coverage or what. Devontae Adams had 9 catches for 190 yards in the first half, and 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't catch a ball in the second half. What is going on here? Same thing with the Raiders. Same thing we could say about the Raiders. Why aren't you running the football when you're ahead by as much as you were at halftime? Why weren't you running the ball in the second half? And why weren't you throwing it to Devontae? I didn't understand anything that happened in that Raiders game. And they just allowed the Jaguars to hang around. If you allow teams to hang around, they're going to beat you.
I have another question for you, Deeks. Man, does Jim Leonard get the Wisconsin head coach permanently?
I answer this every week. Yeah, he's in my mind. Yes, he's the interim head coach, but by the end of the season, he'll be the head coach. There's no question.
He's doing a hell of a job, man. He's doing a hell of a job.
He's doing a hell of a job. Then he's a Wisconsin guy. I mean, he's a Wisconsin guy. He was recruited by Barry Alvarez. Played for Barry Alvarez. Barry Alvarez knows what he's going to do. Knows everything he's about. There's no reason why he shouldn't get that job.
And I'm loving he's going back to old school Wisconsin. running that ball, man. Running that ball down through.
He's as diehard Wisconsin as you can get. So, and as a defensive coordinator, as a defensive coach, you're going to see them line up. They're going to line up two tight ends and a fullback. They might have just one wide receiver. It might be a one wide receiver offense, and just run the ball the whole game.
Man,
it just popped in my head, and when you asked me before about who would be great for the Auburn to coach at Auburn, and this would be outside of the box. Auburn would have to go crazy about this. The head coach from Army. Run that wishbone in Auburn. It would be totally different than anything Auburn's ever done. But you look at the way that guy, the way he's built Army into what they are. That would be a guy that would make news and would make Auburn different from everybody else.
I think that because it's hard to recruit. Players don't want to go to Auburn, so that makes a lot of sense schematically with players' personnel. So I think that'd be a good move. You can't no 5-star want to go to Auburn. That's just be the top 5-star doesn't want to go to Auburn.
Absolutely, they're not going to Auburn because if they're a 5-star. They're getting looked at from Nick Saban. No, they're getting looked at from the other team in Alabama, and they're like, "Wait, do I want to play against Alabama or with Alabama?" And they're like, "Yeah, I'm going with." So, but that would be something that would be different. It would take a lot of guts for an athletic director at Auburn to bring that in, but I would look there. You look at how Army has turned around. I would look there.
And I forgot to talk about this, man. Also, man, Michigan State with that tough win, man.
They beat Illinois. They beat Illinois, dude. With half their team suspended.
Yeah, man.
Half their team suspended, and they still go out and beat Illinois.
Great. That was a great win, man,
and probably saved Mel Tucker.
Whoo! Yeah, that heat was on that seat.
I mean, it's the heat. The heat is still gonna come. The heat is still gonna come when they play Penn State, but still,
I got them losing that, man. Penn State,
but still, that beating Illinois. And the way that they beat Illinois, that might have saved Mel Tucker. That might have saved Mel Tucker's job.
You're right about that, man.
But back to the NFL. What was the other game I was watching this weekend? The other game I had my eye on this weekend, and I think everybody had their eye on, really you don't need to touch on, but you just need to mention Joe Mixon, man. What in the world? Joe Mixon just blows up out of nowhere. 190 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns, and a touchdown receiving. And then after the game, they're interviewing Joe Burrow, and I'm like, why are you interviewing Joe Burrow? Joe Burrow just handed the ball off. That's all he had to do. Joe Mixon took care of everything else.
Joe Burrow, man, he's a bad boy too, man.
But that was a win that Cincinnati needed. Cincinnati needed a win like that. They needed that badly.
Yeah.
Just to get everybody off their back, because everybody's been killing them all year, and we're going to continue to kill them all year. But at least now they can say, "Hey, look, we just won 49 49-7. Like, get off us for a week.
What's going on with that dumpster fire of Green Bay, man? What's going on with
like I said this morning, the Detroit Lions did not beat the Green Bay Packers. They beat
Green Bay gave a gift out in November. They gave a Christmas gift out in November.
They beat Aaron Rodgers. That's what they did. That's what they did this week. They beat Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers, for all that we've talked about, Aaron Rodgers has blamed every single person except for Aaron Rodgers. And now you can't blame this loss on anybody but yourself, Aaron. You can't throw 3 interceptions. You can't throw 2 interceptions at the 1-yard line. What the hell are you doing?
Man, do you think Dan Campbell got a hot seat? You think he's getting fired this year, man? We already seen this long enough.
I don't. I mean, this is his second run as a coach in Detroit. It didn't work the first time. I don't see why it would. I don't see why this would. Why Dan Campbell? Why they think Dan Campbell will work? And it's not going to work.
I told you the last good coach they had was Jim Caldwell, and they gave up too early.
Yeah, they gave up on him for your guy Matt Patricia.
And how did that work?
Yeah, how'd that work out for him? Not too well. Detroit's just a dumpster fire on all levels. You need a guy who can get in there and change the cult. They need somebody to change the culture there.
And I gotta say this now, man. Hutchinson is a bust.
Who?
What's that DN they got from Michigan?
Oh, yeah, Chad Hutchinson.
Yeah, Chad Hutchinson.
As I always say this. I always say this about NFL draft guys. I'm not gonna call anybody a bust in their first year. It's his first year.
For what
he's in Detroit. He's in Detroit. There are times where I've seen him. I didn't believe a lot in Chad Hutchinson when he came out of the draft. I mean, as far as people were talking about him as being the number 1 pick and being all of this, we saw what he is.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy that's going to give you 110% on every play, but he's not a guy who's overly athletic. He's not going to overwhelm you.
And he doesn't have no moves. He don't got no pass rush moves.
No, he has no move. He has no moves at all. His move is I just keep going. But
that's not good enough.
That's not going to work at the end. That's not going to work at the NFL level. At the NFL level, there are guys who can overpower him.
Yeah.
And so he's going to either have to develop a move, or his thing is going to have to be, I'm going to have to be the second pass rusher, because he's not a guy. He's never been that guy. He's always been a guy that outworks everybody else. Well, you're not going to outwork anybody in the NFL. The NFL is not that way. And I said that going into the draft, and he's done nothing to change that. But again, to say he's a bust, it's 1 year in. I always say you have to go 3 years, because I'm not going to say, and that's the same way with anything. Offensive rookie of the year, Kenneth Walker's blowing people away. I'm not going to say Kenneth Walker's a great player off 1 year. If he's still doing this 3 years down the road, then we can go, all right, he's worthy. If Chad Hutchinson is still terrible 3 years down the road, then we can call him a bust. But not off 1 year. 1 year in, it's not enough. The sample size is not enough.
But Deets, let me say this about Tom Brady, man. Did you know he's leading the league at number 2 spot in passing yards?
Yeah. I said it last week. I said it last week on Snowman Show when they were ripping on Tom Brady. I said, wait. They said, oh, Tom Brady's not doing enough. I said, what isn't Tom Brady doing? He's leading the league in passing. I don't know what more you want Tom Brady to do. But that says enough. I don't care what Tampa Bay does. I don't care how good Tampa Bay does this year. Look, Tampa Bay is going to make the playoffs because the NFC South is absolute trash. So Tampa Bay is going to make the playoffs. They'll probably, if they get in, they're probably going to win a playoff game. I don't care. Todd Bowles has to go. I don't care how far they get. Todd Bowles has to go. This is atrocious. The way this team's playing is atrocious. He's just not a head coach. He needs to get demoted back to defensive coordinator. If you want to keep him, he's the defensive coordinator. He can be the assistant head coach. He can be whatever he wants, but he's not the head coach because he's not a head coach. But they need somebody in there. They need somebody in there that can coach that team.
Yeah, I don't know what they.
I don't care. And like I said, I don't care. I don't care if they lose in the divisional round. I don't care if they lose in the championship round. I don't care if they make the Super Bowl. Todd Bowles needs to be removed. Todd Bowles is a great defensive coach. He's not a good head coach. He's not. He's just not. We've seen it with the Jets. We've seen what he's done on defense. We've seen the defenses he's able to scheme up. Just focus on the defensive side. That's all I want you to do. Because the way this team is, they just seem unfocused. And that goes back to the head coach.
So, man, let's close it up, man. What do you have coming up, Deets?
Well, coming up, we're gonna continue with what we'll continue. We're gonna continue celebrating, but tomorrow night, tomorrow Tuesday, the new CFP comes out. So obviously Thursday on Fifth Down Sports Show, we will be breaking everything down from the CFP. And what I want people to understand is it's not about the ranking. It's not about where teams are ranked at this point. Everything about the presentation tomorrow night that they have, listen to the explanations. The explanation when they have the guy, when Reese Davis interviews, I don't know the guy's name, but the head of the CFP committee will come on and will give you the explanation. That's where you learn everything you need to know. Is in the explanations of why they put teams in the spots that they did. And if you can decipher the code, and we'll break it down, because I watched the entire interview and I'll break it down on the show. I will tell you what they're really saying, because they will tell you one thing, but the meaning behind it is what's important. Because I guarantee you right now, TCU is going to be 4 or 5. On the list. And if they're 4 or 5, they're going to be asked, why is TCU not there? And then the guy's going to explain it, and he's going to say everything. He's going to say PC things and you're going to go, nope, that's not what he said. What he's really saying is TCU is not the draw that we want. Because that's always what it comes down to. And so that's what we're going to be breaking down on Thursday on Fifth Down Sports Show. We'll be breaking down the CFP. We'll be telling you the games to pay attention to on Saturday. And, of course, we'll be picking all the games for next week's NFL. But, the game tonight.
Who you got tonight?
Oh, Ravens. But Ravens easy.
Yeah.
Even though they're without everybody, the Saints don't have enough. And I expect, even though Andy Dalton has taken over the quarterback job, he still makes mistakes. I don't know what it is about that Saints offense, but they just tend to throw the ball to the other team, and you can't do that against the Ravens.
No.
You can't do it.
And I think it's going to be, Raekwon Smith's debut, probably?
Yeah, it'll be his debut. It'll be his debut with the Ravens. But I think that secondary will find a way to get Andy Dalton.
You know, Marcus going to jump them routes. Marcus Peters definitely going to. He's a gambler.
Mm-hmm.
He's a gambler. You don't care if it's all the money's on the table. He's going to jump. And
I guarantee he'll get and Andy Dalton will give him a chance to get 2 or 3, and he'll get one. He'll get at least one of them
easily.
That's an easy bet. If you got that on FanDuel, Marcus Peters interception, get it. Get in on it now. Get in on it right now. I'm sure there's a FanDuel thing. If you can bet Marcus Peters interception, do it. I guarantee you'll make money.
But this has been another episode of Midday Sports with Rod and the Lunch Crew / with Fifth Down Sports. I'll probably join Chris Deese this Thursday. I'm gonna see what my schedule is. I might jump on there. But make sure y'all have a good weekend. Good week and a good weekend, because this is only on Mondays. But this has been another episode of Midday Sports, and y'all have a good day. And we're out.